The views and opinions expressed in Media Litter Sandwich do not reflect on the views of the network, station, studio, website, sponsors, guests, hosts themselves, anyone or anything else associated or even not associated with this podcast. Maybe not even the person that said them. In other words, do your own research and do not sue anyone over what is said on this show.
Welcome to Media Litter Sandwich, recording from my basement again, but that's okay because this is kind of a bonus recording episode. That means I'll be ahead a few more episodes whenever I'm not at the Foundation studio. And today, joining me, hey, look, see, video conference. When you know I'm down here, I got a video conference going on. Joining with me is Derek. Hey, Derek, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Scott? Good to be here. Big fan of your
Derek's
show.
in a couple bands. Oh, thank you. Really appreciate that. He's a fellow veteran, and we'll get into that in a second because for some reason people want to hear me rant before I get into the interviews. I'm still not quite sure why. And I just want to say for sure, video version's different than the audio version. So on this particular video right now, I'm using a cheaper webcam, but I have a really cheap background wall, and I could tell you, it does not look like what it does on camera in person. If you look at the wall, you can't see all the cat scratches that the cats use to climb up and down this thing. And I mean, I could stick my fingers through this wall, no problem. Eventually, when I move to a new location without cats, I have a few ideas what to do with this thing. One, I'm going to totally go into all the light gels, all the sample light gels I have, and probably replace at least one or two panels. If you're not watching the video version, think of a very long geisha door setup, like the Japanese weird doors things with the paper on it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those panels. So it's a really long one. And at least 3 of them are completely torn up by cats. So yeah, don't buy one of these if you have cats. But it looks really cool on camera. So I'll probably next interview that I do down here, which will be with another musician from somewhere in the world, you'll probably see that again. I might even be wearing the same shirt. Might be recording the same day. You never know. But speaking of bands, Derek, you have several projects going on, but you contacted me, or I contacted you, I forgot how that worked, over one in particular. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. I'd been watching your podcasts with Media Litter Sandwich and the other guys for a while, and then we got to talking through Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, and decided to do the talk, and I have one of the bands that I'm in, one of the projects is a band called We Are Beasts. It's a play on to the one of the credos that you're taught in U.S. Army Infantry School called the Law Credo. So in that project, We Are Beasts is entirely themed around the military. It has military themes in the lyrics around surrounding patriotism and general civil service and things like that. Kind of a very much so a for veterans, by veterans, for veterans kind of band and project, and just kind of music altogether. Basically, everybody involved with that band has either served in the military, currently serves in the military, or some form of federal or civil service of various kinds. And we like making music in that specific genre, the genre of metal, more specifically kind of metalcore, groove metal from the late 90s second wave and early third wave of the early 2000s and things like that, where a lot of influences of what we listened to while we were in the military come from. Been doing that project for about 2 years now. We have one EP out, a single out, and we have a full instrumental album coming out in probably about a month or so.
Yeah, and you can find it on Bandcamp, right? We are beast.bandcamp.com.
Yep, wearebeast.bandcamp.com. It's and the band is We Are Beasts. The EP is self-titled, and the single,
okay.
We Are Beasts, but the URL is wearebeast at bandcamp.com. Somebody else has We Are Beasts, plural. So, but yeah, we have an EP out that's self-titled EP, and then a single that came out right before the EP. That single is called Ultimate Sacrifice, and that song is also on the EP. And an instrumental version of that song will be on our full-length album coming out.
Now, you're not really on social media at all.
No, not really. I have my YouTube channel. I'm not really active on it all that much. Sometimes I'll put a random song up. I'll upload a song off of one of my projects onto my page, but I'm not on Facebook. I don't use Twitter or any of that stuff. I had Instagram for a short time, and I really didn't like it, so I just stopped using it. And I pretty much just stick to a little bit of YouTube navigation, and then some of the internal media hubs for veterans like IAVA and whatnot to communicate with other veterans, and then various music pages like SoundCloud. And that's about the extent of my social media usage.
Just another shout out to see, I hate acronyms. I hate trying to remember acronyms. IAVA, Iraqi and Afghanistan Veterans of America. Shout out to, they have a really cool beta group. So if you are if you are a veteran from the era, see, I'm going to mess up more with acronyms. OE, I don't remember. It's been over 10 years.
OEF, OIF.
Operation Iraqi Freedom, or Enduring Freedom. Yep. Either one of those.
Or Global War on Terror. Yeah.
Yeah. If you got one of those campaign badges, the forums sometimes are kind of quiet, but it's good. And of course, there's other forums out there, which part of Dysfunctional Veterans, DV Radio. Of course, we're syndicated on dvradio.net, but Dysfunctional Veterans has a lot of cool things. They have their own internal forums and stuff like that, if anyone's really interested in that kind of stuff. And of course, they're on Facebook and all that good stuff as well. How hard is it to advertise without using Facebook or Twitter? I'm not even going to touch Instagram. I barely touch Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of why I gone on Instagram initially, was to do a little bit of promotion. Because I do, apart from recording music with various projects, I also do custom logos from the traditional sense. I draw them and then I scan them and do editing, and I do that with artwork as well. I paint and then I draw and such as well. But I was using that for advertising or marketing for a little bit, but it just typical social media, it's just a mire of other stuff that you don't want to have to see or deal with. So I stopped using it. But as far as exposure now, it's other more just like media and music centric websites like SoundCloud or YouTube. There's a lot of actual like promotion pages on YouTube too, that they'll put your music up and promote it, or if you have your own channel, you put it up, and then you get a little bit of exposure that way. And then with Bandcamp, it's nice because it's an official page and segue for people who have accounts on Bandcamp to explore new music and find new artists, as well as put things on wish list and share it on their social media and things like that. So even if you're not on that much social media, if you use one of those platforms for releasing and selling material and whatever else, it kind of gets out there. So it's a pretty useful tool. And Bandcamp's really popular now. It's one of the largest platforms as far as both record labels and independent underground artists for use for selling music and kind of getting it out there, apart from like Spotify and iTunes and stuff.
Which, by the way, Media Layer Sandwich is on Spotify and iTunes and a ton of other stuff. I don't think Bandcamp's really there for podcasts, but so hey, look, if someone really wants some Bandcamp, we'll check it out. But I have not got that request yet. I don't think they really do. Well, that's why I always say that. Like, hey, if you're using something that we're not on, let us know, and I'll at least investigate, because I know at least 3 or 4 different apps that people use that we're not on. Nobody's requested those yet. So if I don't have to spend the money or time or research it, then I'm not going to, at least not yet. But when I talk to other podcasters, those platforms, only one of them people rely on, and that's usually if they're using that as their hosting site. People that don't use that particular one as a hosting site, they don't get much off of it. So that's kind of way I view things. And it sounds like you're kind of doing the same thing, kind of taking a backtrack on some of the marketing, just because it's like if people aren't demanding it, you're going to save yourself the headache.
Right. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And I mean, especially when you're playing in certain genres, especially with like underground metal, I mean, there's a follower base out there, obviously, but it's not a huge moneymaker like what you see with these major pop artists or mogul, record labels or anything like that. So, it's if not more so for the fun of it and a labor of love and a hobby more than trying to make it some kind of capital thing. I mean, it'd be cool to get a little bit exposure, have a song show up on a soundtrack for a veteran created movie or something, but and have that connection and networking. But yeah, it's just more for the fun of it and for, making music.
So would it be okay if I played one of the songs from We Are Beasts? And if so, what song would you like me to play? And we'll just take a quick break and I could play it.
Yeah,
and
by
if
all
not,
means.
I'll edit that.
Oh, no, it's totally fine. I'd be more than happy for you to play some of the music. It's really up to you. The single and the second to last track off of the EP, Ultimate Sacrifice, is one of the first songs that I recorded for that album, and it definitely impacts a lot of the feelings that we have having to bring our fallen brothers home, and just kind of that contextual thing. I've done funeral details before. I'm sure you have too, or someone who has, and we all have known more than one person who has fallen while serving their country. So it's definitely a very impactful thing. It means a lot, not just to.
I'll go ahead and play that, and for those. I'll go ahead and play that. And what I recommend is people go to wearebeast.bandcamp.com and look up the lyrics during this, because the lyrics are very impactful. It's heavy metal, and sometimes it's hard to distinguish them. I think in this case, definitely read the lyrics along with this, because they are it's pretty impactful. I love having I don't normally do interviews with a computer in front of me because it's really distracting. I'm not quite sure if it's more or less distracting than having a big picture window to downtown Detroit with people walking in front of me, waving to me. But in this case, it's very helpful. The computer, that is, not the people distracting me. So, all right. And then I just blah, blah, blah. I played it, yada, yada, yada. We'll come back in 3, 2. Okay, so that was Ultimate Sacrifice by We Are Beasts. Now, Derek, you have multiple projects going on, or multiple band projects, music projects.
Yep, that's correct. I'm involved actually in a lot of projects. So I've got the We Are Beasts band. That's one of my primary projects that I kind of front run with a couple of other people who collaborate and contribute with that. And I like a lot of, especially metal. I listen to a lot of metal, so I'm involved with a lot of different subgenres within the metal scene and community. And so I've got the We Are Beasts. I have a experimental death metal project called The Anointing Maelstrom. It's all focused around like natural disasters and things like that, a little more esoteric. And then I have a one-man black metal project, very influenced from the Scandinavian black metal, underground black metal scene called Tahazu, which is ancient Sumer for battle. I have several releases for that. I have a couple of more releases coming out this year with that. I am the vocalist for a international collaboration project called Decoherence with a guy from the UK. We just put a vinyl out on a label called Sentient Ruin Laboratories. And that's for sale right now. I've done several full-length releases with another underground artist from New Hampshire called Decorabia. And we've had a couple of cassette tapes come out on a couple of underground labels with that release.
Wait, recently?
The last tape that came out was in late December. With
people are still buying cassette tapes.
Oh yeah, there's been a huge resurgence for collecting and buying and trading cassette tapes. I buy and collect cassette tapes as well as CDs still.
I mean, I know about vinyl. I know there's a huge thing with vinyl. I know, especially with Third Man Records out of Detroit now, they have their own thing where they'll help people record and release on vinyl. Cassettes that okay. I don't know if I still have a
it's pretty
player.
Awesome. They're kind of hard to find unless if you have an older vehicle, it might still have a tape deck in it, but you can still find a cassette player like combo stereos and stuff out there. But yeah, it's definitely a very niche kind of thing. But yeah, we put out a couple of cassettes with that collaboration project. The Anointing Maelstrom death metal project. I've had a cassette come out with that. I have another cassette for that coming out later this year. I'm also in an international black metal band called Ordo Malum with guys from the US and
cassette players on Amazon.
Yeah, you can still find them. Yeah,
it's harder for me to find an HD radio on Amazon than it is for a cassette player. Go figure. At least we know what it takes off.
Right? Yeah. No, it's kind of wild. So then I'm in another band called Ordo Malum. It's an international black metal project with guys from the US and from the country of Romania. And then I'm in a grind band called Beer Enema. Living here in the North Midwest, beer and alcohol are very, very commonplace in social happenings and whatnot. So just kind of a play on that with plenty of comedy and whatnot involved with that project. And that's here locally in Wisconsin. Let's see. And then I do a lot of, other than that, I do a lot of vocal appearances and other instrumental collaborations apart from doing artwork with various artists. I've done vocal appearances for bands from France, South Africa, the US, all over the place in a varying degree of different subgenres.
How does that work
when you're doing it overseas like that? Is it all? Are you actually visiting anything, or are you just doing it all over?
I'd like to visit a lot of those. Yeah, I'd like to visit some of those guys at some point, but yeah, a lot of it is, we connect with via SoundCloud or Bandcamp, and then we send emails back and forth and chat via Messenger, and then we'll email tracking to each other, and then we each individually do our tracking in either our home studios or a local studio, and then send it back and whatnot. I have a little bit of a background as well as a sound technician and stagehand from working at live venues in the past. So doing some of the engineering side of it and mastering and things, I do that too sometimes. But yeah, it works out really well. It's really cool to see
like stage
all the different
audio stuff. Because I can tell you from firsthand experience, just because you work audio doesn't mean you can work audio for a band. Like I could do an open mic, no problem. I could just do a simple guitar mic and an acoustic guitar mic and a vocal mic, or for stand-up comedians. That's, especially presentations and things, no problem. Doing that for years, professionally and whatever, for years. A full band, no. My hands up, not me. That's not me.
Oh yeah, yeah, it gets crazy. I mean, I even going back to high school, which is well over a decade ago now, I have a little bit of background with that because I used to run the sound booth for major theater performances. Our high school was an off-Broadway theater, orchestral productions and things like that. And then after I got out of the military for a time, I was working at Alpine Valley Music Hall, which is a large outdoor music venue here in the state of Wisconsin, and got to help set everything up and then help run sound, operate boards and whatnot for very large acts. I met Chester Bennington from Linkin Park before he died. I've met Chris Cornell. I've met Jimmy Page from the Black Crowes. Met a lot of people doing that kind of stuff, and that was really cool.
Oh man, so that's a lot of projects. How do you balance that? And of course, you have a day job as well, which we don't need to go into. But how do you balance all that besides not doing social media?
Well, I guess I'm just become really efficient at just prioritizing things and working on projects as they come in. Oh, there's even a couple of bands that I forgot to mention. I work with some other guys from the US in a band called Teth Nahesh. It's like super avant-garde experimental stuff. And then another international project called Azi Dahaka, which is sourced from a Persian Dragon of the Apocalypse. But that's like an ambient project, a lot of sampling and stuff. But it's just a lot of like prioritization. It's like, okay, I'm talking with this guy. He's really punctual and on point about communicating and sending tracks. So, we'll get that done and worked on and everything. And then just kind of make a good order of tasks to do and prioritize it from there and just work on things as they come in. With how different, especially with people overseas, it is with time zone and days and everything. It actually works out pretty well because there's a little bit of space and time between working on various projects at whatever stage that they're at to, get things done. And, it has, I really haven't had any hiccups, with any of that stuff besides, lack of communication at times, just cause, a lot of these guys also have, primary day jobs too. So they're all busy. So, some projects can take a year to finish a release, and some projects, they're done in a matter of weeks. So, it's really dynamic in that sense. There's a lot that you can and can't do just based on availability and where things are, in a process for releasing a project.
So are you getting paid for this? Like, are you contracting? Is like a studio musician or something?
Not really. I do take commissions for when I do logo work for bands or artwork. Album cover artwork and things like that at times, but most of the time it's just a hobby and a labor of love. So, we'll work on a project together and we'll release it. And, if we end up working with a label to release, physical formats, we'll get a percentage of that, or we'll get paid royalties from sales through Bandcamp or Spotify or whatever, from the artists if that's what they want to do, So sometimes it's just done for free. and sold for free. It's just really dependent on what everyone wants to do. So, like I said before, you know, especially in the genre of metal and underground metal, you're not making a lot of money. Most of the money that's being made with those kinds of acts, unless you get super popular on one of those sales sites, is playing live, you know, getting payouts through management and going on tours and then selling merchandise. That's where a lot of the money comes from for those bands in that avenue. Other than that, no, it's just for fun. So, but I've done a couple of interviews and a couple of releases have been kind of showcased in various publications online and things like that. So it's pretty cool. It gets out there in whatever capacity, and if people like it, they like it. If not, that's fine. I still like doing it. So.
So let's see here. You're an artist. You are vocalist, guitarist for more bands than you could remember at any given moment. And you're also, you also have a full-time day job, and you do some, your one band, We Are Beasts, that has a particular like veteran type thing, which makes it different. Is that any part like a charity, or is this just like an awareness, or
Awareness.
It's more for just, you know, by veterans, for veterans, and civil servants kind of thing. You know, I mean, there's a lot of organizations out there, and I like connecting with them and sharing the art and just being able to connect and talk with veterans and stuff. But I mean, that the We Are Beasts band and project, we make the material because, you know, we want to honor, you know, our service, our brothers and sisters in arms, of their service and their sacrifices. And, it's just kind of our creative way of honoring them and kind of showing the world, you know, some of the experiences, opinions, and whatever else that, you know, many of us hold in some degree or another. And, just, you know, it's just a fun thing to do and maybe help, you know, if it helps someone, if a veteran enjoys it, you know, hey, it's there for them and they can listen to it whenever they want. If it's cathartic and helps, that's awesome. If, you know, they just like that kind of music, I mean, that's awesome. You know, it's, you know, it's just kind of a varying degree of things. The song, Ultimate Sacrifice, I had, originally put up a YouTube video just kind of jamming the riff out, and a couple of veterans kind of asked, you know, hey, are you going to make an album of this? Or are you going to make a full song of this? So I thought about it for a while, and I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'll do that. So, and then I just ended up starting the whole band. So
yeah, that's always cool when, you know, you're just playing with an idea and people are like, I dig that. That's pretty cool. One thing I did notice on the Bandcamp, I don't know if this is for all your projects or just We Are Beasts, when you go to buy something, it's whatever you want to pay. It's you suggest price or whatever it is. Which that's something I've read about for quite a while, and I have my own opinions about that. But I do want to ask you, how does that work? Like, is it working well? Is it how?
As far as the pay as you you know, pay what you want. I mean, that's a setting within the metadata for the Bandcamp. You know, some of the other projects, you know, yeah, I have a set fixed price for an album for sale or whatever. But with that project, it's honestly, it's a lot more meaningful if, you know, if somebody likes it, but they don't have money or whatever. And coming, you know, from a veteran standpoint, I understand that sometimes there's not a lot of money coming in, you know, and, you know, living off of compensation or whatever. And, you know, it's there to download for free if they want it and if they like it. And, you know, that's just a way to support it. There's been a couple of downloads. Nobody's paid for it yet, and that's fine. That's not really a project that I'm looking to, you know, be be capitalizing on for
Well, you made $2 today. I could tell you that right now. Well, that's beside the point.
Yeah. Right, and that's cool, if somebody, wants to pay, that's fine. But yeah, no, it's more there, that project in particular, it's there for our brothers and sisters, and for something for them to just listen to and enjoy, and understand that, they're not alone in that situation, and that it's just the whole dynamic of the lifestyle and the culture and everything. And yeah, not intending to make money on that project at all. Yeah, I'm more than happy to just have it downloaded by people,
Well, I think at this moment, let's go ahead and we'll go to Toaden Reads, where I pretty much dive into the things that you don't like. It's social media. Time to, I kind of feel bad. I feel like I'm going to remind you why you stay off of it.
Yep. That's okay, I still try and, keep up on things and various current events in the news and other things that may be going on with social media. But yeah, I don't like using it.
Okay. Let me check something here. I want to make sure I'm reading something. I did find one thing that I want to bring up, but I'm not going to screen share. Normally, when I do these calls like this, I'll screen share. But because this is a closed group, I'm not going to say the name, so I'm not going to screen share. Just for our own people's privacy, because it's not an open group, it's not public, so I will not do that. Not this time. Maybe another time. I don't know, but not this time. I'm not going to do that. But I'm reading from the group Disgruntled Underground. I'm not quite sure if they have ties to. It is ties to Disgruntled Vets. Hey, I used to be on Disgruntled Discussions. Hey. So yeah, my friends over there at Disgruntled Vets, this is their Disgruntled Underground. They shared a link to an article from Hill Reporters. The headline is "Watch Fox News hosts bash veterans for accessing. They bash veterans for accessing their benefits. Why can't I say that word right? And whether or not they did that or not, let's put that to the side and read the comments. We'll take that as face value, because part of this is kind of seeing what other people think. And the first comment is, well, Trump bashed POWs, so is all fits. And what? See, first we get right into the political discussion, right into that. I'm going to edit this one a little bit, but the person pretty much says, sign up and do a tour, then talk to me. If not, shut your... I'm going to replace what they said and say mouth. They said something not so work appropriate. Yeah, they used another term for rooster, basically. And all veterans know exactly what they said. Yep. Where you put your roosters at.
That's what I love about the veteran community. There's we don't like to filter or sugarcoat anything. It's great.
No. And when we're in a closed group, when we're in a veteran community, we let it go. We're not, well, this person, you gotta feel like this. No, we're like, no, that person is and we just let it go. And that's when I don't say people's names, because it's a safe space. I'll go ahead and use that word. I don't care. It's, for veterans, when we're all together, it feels like a safe space, especially if we're behind in the closed group. But in the open, we may be a little more, I shouldn't say everyone, because there's no way. Not even maybe 50%. But say at least in a metal band, you could just scream and not everyone will even hear the lyrics.
To some context, yeah. I mean, some is much more intelligible than others, but yeah, I mean, it's and that's part of why I like metal so much. I've been listening to metal since I was, easily 6 years old, 7 years old, and it's just it's much more real in its context and emotional evocation and everything. So,
an occasion we do get someone that pays attention and has something more balanced. This person who obviously read the article and then watched the videos, he says, "I don't see it as bashing. He was a combat Marine. Well, once Marine, always Marine. So there's never really a was, but I don't know. Once Marine, always Marine. So why would you reenlist?" That's the way I saw it. That's why I got out.
That's why I saw it.
He was a combat Marine. He is saying there is a malingering in the system. Use it if you need it. If not, if you can handle it, then pay your own way. This way, there is still going to be a system for those that are indignant and need it. Perfect example of a misleading headline. Which does bring up when you're actually having a conversation, an actual balance, about something, a conversation, there's always going to be people, no matter what your opinion is, they're going to, if they don't 100% agree with you, then they're going to say no. Kind of like the if you're against illegal immigrants, if you're trying to do something against illegal immigrants, all of a sudden you're against all immigrants, which is not what the policy is. Not naming any names, but we see it time and time again where people are like, "Hey, look, maybe illegal immigrants, I kind of like that they can't vote." What, you're against immigrants voting? No, that's not what I said. I said illegal immigrants shouldn't vote. They don't. They technically aren't part of our system here. Why don't you think immigrants are part of the system? Do you know that your ancestors are immigrants? That's not what I said. And they just go off. It's kind of one of those type things. Oh man, there's a great meme. It says, there's just this meme. It says, "I didn't read the article, but let me tell you what I think about the headline." Great. I think someone's been watching the show. Somebody, this is a great line. "He accidentally had a point." Although this is a clickbait article. I like that. I might use that one day. They accidentally had a point. Let me find one or two more here. Then I'll move on to something I can screen share. Okay. So when I first saw this article, I saw this comment, and it's something I kind of relate to. This guy says, "As the old saying goes, soldiers are considered heroes in wartime and bums in peacetime. I knew that it was just a matter of time before the liberal media turns on the military." I never heard that quote before.
Yeah, I don't think I've really heard it in that specific wording or context before. No, I mean, in that kind of opinion, I think has existed since Vietnam, really.
So this article, it's not an article. It was a screenshot of what looks like it was something off the blotter. It was, who would have thought that a giant box of knives sitting on the street would have been attracted to criminals? Hunt for a gang who ransacked knife amnesty bin, which I'm told is not a super uncommon type thing. I mean, I've seen these bins with all sorts of different things. Some of them actually have like the Cookie Monster on it. Say, insert your knives here. It's just, to me, that by itself is, again, very political, but it's like we would see that here if we banned guns. And there's a picture accompanying with it with a number of knives and cleavers and hatchets, which I swear when these hatchets just looks just like one that I personally own. Maybe two of them. And the first comment is actually great because it actually links to the article, but we don't read that. So we're going to move on to the comments. And the page I'm reading from is Being Libertarian. Yeah, the Being Libertarian page, because that just happens to be the place where I saw it. The first comment that actually has words on it is, you have to go after the manufacturers to stop the knife epidemic. Don't believe NRA propaganda. Only trained licensed chefs should have access to paraculinary assault knives. It's time to take a stand against National Restaurant Association pro-knife agenda. I love that. That is such satire and amazing. I wonder if there actually is a National Restaurant Association that calls themselves NRA. I hope there is. If there isn't, there should be. I don't know how well you can see the screenshots, but if you want to read a couple of these replies to this person's comment, go for it. I went ahead and highlighted one for you. If you can read it. If you can't, that's okay.
Yeah, I can read them. Oh, man, that's funny. There are some witty commentators out there. That is funny.
Would you like to go ahead and read a couple of them?
Oh, sure. So Tracy says, true story. Do you know how many times I've cut my finger while chopping veggies? And I am not a trained or licensed chef.
That's what the knife industry wants you to believe. All knives should be banned. Oh, man. Swiss
knives. Leatherman's girders.
Whoever says multiple blade knives should be outlawed. Oh, mine's up on the table right now. I swear I have 3 different Leathermen, like 2 other. I got so many multi-tools, but I use them in my job. I mean, I've gone to federal buildings where they will search your entire vehicle and everything, and they'll be like, "Do you have any knives on you?" Yeah, I got like 3 on me, and I need them for my job, and they just go, "Okay." It's just, but then again, we're in America. And that's kind of, let me go, I'll go ahead and go to a different thread here. Because there's usually one comment I normally read, and I see it. And here it is right here. Well, every time I think of the United States as a joke, I just remember the UK. That's usually accompanied by, and I'm sure you've heard this one before whenever we talk about the gun debate, and a British person tells you, hey, why do you guys even have guns? We don't have them over here. Life is great. You know what? Last time we cared what you said about, gun control was like 1775, after we won that, after we won the right not to have our weapons confiscated by the government. UK is just the opening act.
Yeah. I mean, and all my friends that I talk to, like in the UK or in Europe, like Finland or Germany or whatever, I mean, even they admit, things are so messed up over there. It's like, it's such a weird dichotomy.
Okay, we'll end this on 2 comments. I'll read this one, then you could read the last one. All those poor innocent knives may be forced into nefarious activities. Oh, the humanity. And then our last comment that we're reading off of the Being Libertarian
at least it's
Facebook
not guns,
page,
am I right?
Comment
knives. Yeah, at least it's not guns, am I right? Knives don't kill anyone. Tell a correctional officer that.
Oh man.
Or like that badass
Derek,
Gurkha in the British military. You know what I'm talking about? That Gurkha in the British military, he ended up getting in hand-to-hand combat with Taliban, and he like fought him off with his kukri, that curved machete type blade that the Gurkhas carry. Oh,
yeah, I have a couple
crazy
of those.
story.
I mean, I'm familiar with what you're talking about.
Yeah. They're awesome.
Maybe one day I'll pull out my knife collection, or I won't. Although I've had people ask me to pull out my Janko collection, which I'm wearing a pair of Jankos right now. I'll probably.
Oh, the 90s nostalgia.
Oh yeah, they're supposply coming back, and there's my Janko comment of the episode. Oh yeah, I got more old to talk about Jankos. You feel old. I'm trying to get the CEO on the show. I'm on the radar. I'm on the radar. They sent me stickers. I'm on the radar. Derek, thank you for coming on the show. Once again, please tell people where they can find your music projects and check you out.
All right. Yeah, thanks for having me, Scott. I really appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the patriotism military veteran by vets for vets band, We Are Beasts. It's wearebeast.bandcamp.com. I sell paintings or do commission artwork. Usually you can contact me through the Bandcamp page's contact form, or, just post a comment on a YouTube video or whatever, and, I work it out with people, but I do sell paintings.
Do you have samples of your art anywhere?
I have one painting for sale on my Tahazu Bandcamp page. My one of my other primary projects is Tahazu TAHAZU.bandcamp.com, and if you go to merch, there's the merch tab. There's a painting there that I have for sale. It's just kind of one of my styles, but I'm fairly diverse with that. I can do a lot of stuff, which is pretty cool. So. wearebeast.bandcamp.com, or Tahazu TAHAZU.bandcamp.com for other music and artwork. Once again, thanks for having me on the show. Awesome talking to you here, and outside of this as well. It's always great to connect with other veterans and people who are doing awesome things kind of outside the norm like this. It's really awesome.
I appreciate that. Thank you, and thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy our discussion. You can find Media Layer Sandwich at MediaLayerSandwich.com. We have a Facebook group. People can totally come into the Facebook group and conversate and promote your other pieces. For those that do actually use social media, you are totally welcome. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed our discussion, and may the algorithms be in your favor.